Hello, everybody. My guest today is Chris Treadaway. He's the CEO of a company called Polygraph Media and founder. He's a Facebook marketing partner in ad technology, and he was previously group product manager at web strategy at Microsoft in Redmond and was also a co-founder of Stratfor. He now lives in Austin with his wife, Kim, and daughter, Margaret. Okay, Chris, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So tell us about Polygraph. You go from Microsoft to Polygraph. What's the difference and what are you working on today?
Yeah, so we actually started as an analytics business, big data analytics around social data about 6 years ago or so. And we built this fantastic, I think, analytics system that mined tons and tons of data out of the social graph, took it out to clients, and they told us it was nice. But what they really wanted us to do with that is give them things that could help them optimize their advertising with it and really boost what they were doing with their ad spending. And so we took all those assets, built some ad technology around it, and now we're a very happy Facebook ad tech partner. And we've serviced a lot of large companies, helping them with local advertising campaigns at scale.
And is your revenue model, is it a SaaS model or a percentage of spend model? What do you like to focus on?
Yeah, it's percentage of spend right now simply because that's how we make the most money. But we are moving to a SaaS model right now with a lot of what we've learned. So, we've run probably about, I would say, in excess of 40,000 individual ad campaigns. They're smaller campaigns, but we've learned a ton from that, learned a ton from the data. And so we've sort of been in the labs figuring out what the right product is to build out of that. And that's what's coming out here at the end of January.
Why build a product at all? Why not keep doing just the percentage of spend model?
I think that there's some weird incentives between, when you're an ad tech company and you're between brands and the agencies. I think some things can be unnecessarily difficult. And then the other side of this too is just there's so many agencies out there and so many software companies out there that I think that we just think that we want to service the types of clients that want to handle some of their own problems a little more than just always have to be completely involved in it. So,
I mean, is that also a trend you're seeing, folks moving stuff in-house and you're going, man, to stay relevant, we better systematize what we've learned and package that in a SaaS product?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, agencies are very much under fire right now. Brands are getting smarter. The reality is everybody needs to squeeze as much profit as they can out of the deals, out of their businesses. And so they're looking for inefficiencies. And I think a lot of the agency world has not exactly moved forward as quickly as some of the brands have and MarTech companies have. And so now I think there's a real opportunity for companies to bring things in-house. And we are seeing that increasingly.
Interesting. Now, in terms of what you've built, what year did you launch the company?
So we were launched in 2010 as an analytics business, and then we relaunched as an ad tech company in 2013. So we're really seeing our growth there.
The analytics business, though, was that also a percentage of spend?
That was a SaaS. That was a pure play SaaS business.
Okay. Now, did you just shut that off or did you sell it, kind of spin it out or what?
No, we decided to wrap it into the ad product completely because we felt like those assets were better used to optimize advertising.
What size was it at this point? I mean, were you doing $100,000 a month, $1 million a month, $10,000 a month?
For the analytics side?
When it was pure SaaS?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was less than $100,000 a month. It was not taking off. I mean, I think the ad tech side has been a much more gainful thing for us, and it's been a better application. Because you can't. I think in this, you platforms are nice to build. They're nice to talk about. There's a lot of theoretical potential in them, but I think that you really have to find the thing that you do better than everybody else and just go all in there. And that's really what that pivot meant for us back at that time.
So you went away from SaaS then, but now you have a renewed confidence in SaaS because you're moving back to that. Why?
Yeah. I just think we can service a lot of people, with a very specific set of problems. So where we focused, we are, as you mentioned earlier, Facebook ad tech partners, but we're focused on local at scale. And so when companies want to run $300 a month campaigns across, say, 1,000 locations or 500 locations, it's too complicated to actually engage in that. There's a lot of problems with it. The native tools don't support it very well. So that's a real niche and a real opportunity. That's a very specific problem with a very specific set of customers. And then there's needs there. There's that are unserved currently. And so a lot of brands right now just do an antiseptic campaign nationwide or internationally. They don't take advantage of what people in a local market might care about or might think about. And so we've built a scale platform for that life cycle. And so what we really kind of did is went back to the drawing board, worked very closely with a lot of customers, and found a niche that we think we can own, that we also think is defensible. And so that's why we're sort of going back towards the SaaS side.
And over the past 12 months, what kind of total volume have you processed across these campaigns? I guess they call it TPV in your space.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we've done 15,000 individual executions in the last 12 months. And so,
what does that mean, though?
So it's maybe what would be termed a micro campaign. So we'll spend as little as $150 at a time on a campaign, all the way up. I mean, we have some clients that spend $10,000, $15,000 on a very specific localized campaign, depending on the radius and all the things they're trying to do, and duration, all the time, and what we're testing. Where we can test creative and interests and all the different types of targeting criteria Facebook allows. And so, So 15,000 individual micro campaigns across our clients, and when we see the data on our side, we're able to put that in business intelligence, which we do tagging around it and so on. We can see a lot of really interesting things in the data about how the spend is trending, what's working, what's not working. We sort of have what we term an unfair advantage powered by data analytics when we see what's happening.
And again, across those 15,000 things over the past year, what was that representative of in terms of total volume, dollar wise?
I would say in the ballpark of $10 million in ad spend, something to that effect.
Okay, that makes sense. And 15,000 campaigns represent, how many clients is that across? You working with 10 folks, 100 folks, 1,000 folks?
Yeah, we have about a dozen clients, and they're, sometimes they'll turn off for 3 weeks and turn back on. That's another thing about the SaaS side of this, is that because it's a percentage of ad spend, sometimes things can be a little seasonal. Like right now over the holidays, oddly, our advertisers, most of which are retailers, they're doing local things. They're starting to peel back now because they don't want to compete with e-com. They don't want to compete with other types of advertisers that go in, really hard during the holiday season. They'll turn back on first week of January. I think we have one we work with that's a local chain of for personal fitness. It's a personal fitness franchise, and so they're a big advertiser. They kick off really hard December 26th. Well, why is that? It's New
resolutions. We want a six-pack, baby.
That's right.
All right.
So it's seasonal, and so with SaaS, obviously, you can make it a little less seasonal, Anyway.
And what's your model? I mean, everyone kind of has, some people call it the ad tech tax, and sometimes it's as high as 75 cents on the dollar in terms of, percent of spend. Sometimes it's as low as under 1%. We had Bill Wise on with MediaOcean recently, and it was really low because they're doing billions in volume. What are you at?
Yeah, so we're about a 10%.
Okay.
It varies based on client and if we're getting more involved in some other ways. Now, on the Google side, the numbers are lower, right? Because Facebook's so complicated, there's thousands and thousands of targeting permutations available, millions of targeting permutations available. So there's a lot more complexity with that than Google. Google's also a little more mature. So what you see is over time, the fee drops because there's more entrants in the market and people solve some of the basic problems. And so we anticipate that with Facebook also. But right now, we're about 10%, but when we release SaaS, it won't be 10%. It'll be less than that because we'll have less touch.
Yeah. So with the SaaS, though, I mean, it'll be a fixed rate, not a percentage of spend model, right?
Yeah, it should be. It'll be metered in some way to accommodate how much volume we're doing.
If you're spending $0 to $10,000 a month, it's
right.
$30 a month, whatever.
That's right.
Got it.
Right.
So it's fair to say then over the past 12 months, if you've processed about $10 million in spend and you're around 10%, it's fair to say you've done about $1 million in revenue over the past year.
It's a little different. It's in the ballpark. I mean, there's some things on the strategy side that we will do that might bump that up a little bit, but
more high touch kind of professional consulting stuff.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like if you're building attribution models, right? If you're proving revenue, if you're proving lift for these clients, it takes a little more. So sometimes we'll get involved in the data science side. We'll pull in their revenue when it's a good trust relationship. We'll pull in revenue, store traffic. We'll pull in numbers from them and then line it up with all the different things they're doing on the advertising side or demand generation side, and then build out a model where we can prove some percentage of revenue. And so we can prove about half of the revenue that a lot of our clients get when we have that level of data.
How do you resist the urge to like go in and build your own business in that space? You have the channel basically, the spend, just go make the product and do it yourself.
Well, that's definitely occurred to us, right? I mean, I think that we know how to make clients engage and buy from you, and no matter what the business. I mean, that's sort of to an extent what we do. So there's definitely a business model question we're facing right now. We're having some discussions about some of that, about whether or not we should own the equity, for the entities.
Chris's personal training gym coming to an Austin corner near you soon, right?
Well, that's the key on a lot of these businesses, right? Like if you know how to bring them in,
that's it.
Then you own like the key component of that business, right?
Yep. I mean, look, this is Amazon, right? They can look at what sells best, and then you know what they do? They go create the Amazon Basics brand of the sheet that's doing well, created by somebody else. And that's how it works.
No question. And so with Facebook and Google being a duopoly, I think when we have better coverage of Google, we have a little bit of coverage of Google now. We have more coverage of Google, Facebook plus Google. You're covering a lot of the landscape of how demand is generated online. That becomes a much more compelling thing. And I will tell you, we've had that. I mean, it's funny you bring that up because we've actually had a lot of discussions lately around that.
Yeah. I mean, that occurred to me with this show. People were coming on and emailing saying, we got so many new customers. And I'm going, wait a second, should I have equity in some of these people coming on? And I've started to do that with some people, and it works really, really well, and they're very happy about it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
What's your team size today?
We have 10 people on the team. And
all
then
in
we
Austin?
have a few more flex. No, they're in different places. We have someone in Dallas. We have someone in Atlanta. We have most of the team is in Austin. But,
and you're liking this more than Microsoft?
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, it's my thing, versus someone else's thing.
Did you ever work back in the day with Satya or no?
I know of him. I interacted actually more with Ballmer than I did with Satya. So it was an interesting. Microsoft's an interesting place.
I listen.
Not as bad as people say.
The Ballmer video I've stuck in my head is him releasing the phone, dancing around on stage like a maniac, with Bill in the background going like, "Is this really who I just picked to run this company?" And I'm going, hey, listen, developers. At least he's got energy, right?
It's very enthusiastic.
Yes.
There's good things about that.
I call it like cringe-worthy enthusiasm because I'm cringing as I'm watching the enthusiasm. But okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's the last book you read?
It's funny. I don't have time to read books. As terrible as that sounds, I listen to podcasts in the car. I listen to books on tape sometimes. I mean,
what was the last one? Do you remember?
It's been a little while, but the Freakonomics book.
Yep.
But I found some of it a little simplistic.
Yeah. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Well, I think Satya is rather fascinating, but Mark Benioff with Salesforce, I think, is just a guy to emulate. No question about that. You have to appreciate Elon Musk despite, the criticisms about taking government subsidies and this and that. I mean, anybody who can excite people is really interesting to me right now. Absolutely.
Yep. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool?
My favorite online tool. Ooh, I mean, Power BI. I live in Microsoft's Power BI. I'm a data geek.
The Power BI. We'll get that down. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Solid 6, but that's it.
That's
maybe
good.
5.5 to 6.
All right. And what's your situation? Married? Chris. Married, single? You have kiddos?
I'm married. I have a girl that just turned 5 today.
Did I say her name right in the bio? Is it Margaret?
Margot.
Oh, it's Margot. The T's silent.
Yeah, silent T. She's fantastic. She's great.
And how old are you, Chris?
I'm 43.
Last question. Take us back 23 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
What do I wish my 20-year-old self knew? I should have gone for it sooner. We were a few years into Stratfor, and it was a great experience and a fascinating experience, fascinating company. But we had a few opportunities in '99 to go build something, and I had an opportunity to move to San Francisco, and I didn't. And I think you have to go to Hollywood if you're an actor, and you've got to go to Silicon Valley if you're a startup guy or gal.
There you guys have it from Chris. Go for it sooner. He launched Polygraph Media past 12 months. He's helped clients, about 12 of them, process over $10 million of their spend in highly local ways. A lot of different ad sets, low spend, but a lot of variability because it's all over the place. That's the value he's bringing in. And he takes about 10% to spend, so about $1 million in revenue. Actually, a little more than that because he does professional consulting, really to help drive attribution so his clients know he's helping them make money. They're looking at the SaaS model. They're going to power that SaaS model with data they know works from all the spend they're doing. And that'll be available. I imagine there'll be a self-serve model there. So look out for that. Chris, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nathan.